Sal Ferreras is a percussionist who has collaborated in almost every music genre on the Canadian music scene. He's toured around the world as a soloist, producer, and musical collaborator. He is the Dean of the Vancouver Community College School of Music, Dance, and Design, and has held numerous academic and professional appointments. Sal spends his days thinking a lot about rhythm, improvisation, and about the lessons we can learn and derive from a collective love of music. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sal Ferreras.
Been bugging me all night, that little thing in the wrong angle. Good evening. I make my living playing with ideas. And although my training prepared me to be a classical musician, my roots remained in popular, commercial, and street music. Tonight, I'd like to talk about how these two ideas that seem sort of maybe diametrically opposed, sort of on the one side you have the disciplined, rigorous, notated world of Western classical tradition, and on the other side, the street-flavored blend of colloquial, common, and instinctive music making that has helped shape my work as a musician, a producer, and even lately as a post-secondary administrator. I was looking for what the thread was that was holding all of this together, that sort of allowed me to make some sort of a seamless transition between those very different worlds. And I eventually clued on the fact that it was about improvisation. Improvisation, such as the slides that you're seeing, are a rich interplay of ideas and perspectives, multiple stimuli, rapid reaction that enables one to problem solve, to reimagine, and to propose alternatives. It's the art of the other view and can reveal surprising insights into how mental agility can be trained to work in multiple platforms and produce, in my case, sometimes cogent results. How do you do this, the improvising thing? I'd like to take a second to just talk a little bit about how the brain does it, because I actually didn't really understand any of this, but was constantly perplexed by some improvisations that I saw, or some musicians that I saw at work, and I was always inspired, but mostly perplexed by how they could react to such fast stimuli. Well, it turns out, according to the scientific research, that the human brain processes auditory stimulus, connecting the sound to the cerebral cortex in 8.9 milliseconds. So you hear it that fast, and you are able to react to it in 100 milliseconds, which is pretty darn fast, so 1/10 of a second. This high level of receptivity is more acute in the case of error correction, which really has a lot to do with improvisation. In improvisation, you receive stimulus, and then you react, and sometimes on your way to the reaction, you take another turn because of something that just happened, something that you just saw or just heard. So receptivity, error correction, is half the speed of what would normally be the reaction to a sound. So it made me think, okay, well, maybe there's some sort of logic to this that I can begin to explain. This draws attention to the incredible rate that the improviser can process information from his or her immediate surroundings and attempt a response and adjust the response to a variety of musical and psychological factors. When a musician improvises, he or she surrenders to what author Reichling referred to as the immediate rather than mediated sense of knowing. For others, problem solving at the musical level takes on a different dimension, where the improviser becomes adept at maneuvering through conceptual limits and to find creative solutions in a strictly musical realm. I spent a lot of time with the South Indian classical player Sri Shankaran, who often talked about improvisation as being, he was only happy when he worked within all the hundreds and hundreds of rules that guide absolute playing in classical tradition. When he listened to people do free improvisation or what's called free jazz, he thought that's an impossible world for him because it didn't have any constrictions within which to create the magic that he caught. He relied a lot upon intuition, and he talked about intuition as being always linked to improvisation. To others, The connection between intuition, which is an internal state of readiness, and perception, is combined with inspiration and presumes the improviser's confidence and willingness to explore. Intuitive players integrate prior knowledge, preparation, and trust to achieve what North American improvisers call being in the zone. I asked around, I talked to a number of other artists. I talked to choreographer Crystal Pite, and she said, I'm not sure I've heard the word mystical used, but I certainly heard of other words like that, like trance, like you're in the zone, you've got the flow. It's beyond thinking. Improvisation is beyond consciousness, and certainly a state that she, speaking, would aspire to, if not in every performance, at least some moments. Actress Barbara Pollard talked to me about the writing of Edgar Cayce, who talked about a river of consciousness where you can tap into something that's already there. I used to think that, and some of my students would tell you that I always talked about there are some great tunes out there, and every once in a while they're sort of on a long train, and every once in a while you're allowed the beauty of stepping on that train for a few magical moments, and you feel that touch with the other world, or the feel with the touch with the infinite. And I was very, very surprised to find that a number of other performers have expressed the same experience. And in fact, Bruno Nettle, a very well-known anthropologist in the United States, talked about the native Pima people of southwestern United States, where they talked about, in their belief, that all songs already exist, and that in the supernatural world, and it's up to the humans to unravel those songs. A very profound experience that I had as a musician, and one of my favorite moments of improvisation was at the Quebec International Festival with clarinetist Francois Houle and Persian tar player Amir Kushkani, where we were playing I can only call it a rabid set. We'd been playing for about 40 minutes on stage, this very big festival. Everybody's very excited, and we're going full blast. And at one point, I decided that I should maybe pause, because I was liking what was happening. I thought I'll just pause and listen. And Francois and Amir paused at exactly the same time in the performance and sent an absolute chill with me, because I thought, okay, we have connected. I've seen that other world. I've been allowed one more time the magic of the beauty that is the world of improvisation, the world that opens the window to me, to some of those other beauties that we're not able to see in our daily lives. And I decided that, as I was going to speak to you tonight, that improvisation would be part of what I was doing. So I was using about half my notes and just playing with the images that you're seeing from many of our well-known artists. Thank you very much.